Okay, now you're going to take some notes on le système éducatif en France. The 3 most important things regarding French education. Numéro 1. La laïcité. Say it with me. La laïcité. Public school must be laïque. That means it's separated from religion. The reason for this is so that the citizens of France learn how to make their own judgments. Numéro 2. Gratuite. Access to education is considered a right of all citizens, so school must be gratuite or free. Numéro 3. Obligatoire. Schooling serves a social function by making educated citizens. Thus, schooling is compulsory, meaning it's a requirement. Now, this is very similar to how we have it in America. American schools, there's a separation between church and state. We're not allowed to preach religion. We must have public education available at no cost to all residents, to all citizens. And it is obligatory. Education needs to be part of our life. It can be through homeschooling, it can be through a public school, a private school, a religious school. There's a bunch of different options, but a child must be educated. This is what le système de scolarité in France looks like. So down at the bottom, they started école maternelle. This is preschool from ages 2 to 6. Then they move into école élémentaire. Their first year is going to be cours préparatoire. Then we have cours école élémentaire. And then we have cours moyen. Next, they move up and they go into collège. They start in 6e. Then they go into 5e. Then they go into 4e. Then they go into 3e. By this point, they're 16 years old, and they need to make a decision. They can go to the left, and they can go to Lycée d'enseignement professionnel. This is a trade school, a technical school. And after that, they go into the workforce, la vie active. If a student is more of a person who wants the traditional education, they move to the right, and that is le lycée. Once they get out of collège, they go into deuxième, and then première, and then terminale. Now, if a student wants to go to a university, if they want to go to a university, they move on, and they go into université or grande école. And then after that, when they graduate, they go into the workforce, vie active. Now, if a student decides not to continue on to a university, they enter la vie active right after le lycée, right after their terminale year. Le collège. The system of grade levels is the opposite of the American system. So 6e is from ages 11 to 12, and that's our equivalent of 6th grade. Then a student moves into 5e when they're 12 or 13, and this is 7th grade. 4e is between the ages of 13 and 14, and this is our 8th grade. And 3e is ages 14 to 15, and this is their 9th grade. This is our 9th grade, I'm sorry. Le lycée. Students must choose a cycle to follow by sophomore year. And students enter this cycle based on how well they do in middle school. If a student has done well in middle school and will likely go to college, they will enter traditional school, le lycée. If a student seems to do well with technical things, they're going to move to the left and go to trade school. If a student has poor grades at age 16 and has already repeated a grade, they must leave school and enter the workforce. If they haven't yet repeated a grade, this is where they have that opportunity to have one last final chance. Le lycée. When they're 14 or 15 years old, they go into their deuxième. This is their 10th grade. Then they go into première, and this is 16 to 17 years old, and this is our 11th grade. And then their senior year is terminale. Just like how it is in America, this is ages 17 to 18. About 64% of French teenagers receive a diploma and they graduate. This is a typical schedule for a student. Take a look at lundi. So from 8 heures to 10 heures, this student has anglais. And then they have 1 hour of histoire et géographie. And then they go on to philosophie. Then at noon, midi, they have repas. That would be le déjeuner. I honestly can't read what the next one says. At 2 o'clock, at 14 heures, they have anglais again. And then at 3 o'clock, they obviously got to choose between Arabe and Italien and Portugais. This person chose Italien. Then they go back into langue anglais. And then it looks like they have musique or latin. Now take a look at mardi, mercredi, jeudi, vendredi, and samedi. Do they have the same classes on mardi as they did on lundi? How about on mercredi? What do you see there? Do you see that they only have half a day on mercredi? Then on jeudi, they only go until 15. They only go until 3 o'clock. Different classes. On vendredi, they go until 5 o'clock again. Different classes. And then samedi matin, on Saturday morning, they're back at school. And they take classes from 8 until 12. And then they have lunch and they're off the rest of the day. So what is different about our schedule than theirs? How about the foreign languages they take? What foreign languages are offered? And the ones that have been outlined are the ones that they're taking. How many foreign languages are they taking? Le bac, le baccalauréat. Le bac is a national test that all high school seniors must take in order to graduate. It tests everything that the student has learned in school. So it's a final exam to the 100th degree. It's half written and half oral. Le bac. Sorry, guys. In general, about 75% of students pass le bac on the first try. If you don't pass it the first time, you repeat your terminale year and you try to take it again. If you don't ever pass it, you don't ever receive a high school diploma. If you do pass the bac, you are guaranteed a spot in a public university and you don't have to pay for that education. What do you think, in your opinion? Is that worth it? This is an example of a diploma. Ok, super. Merci beaucoup.